The Commanders should not trade Chase Young. Young says, I've always played to prove myself. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year, but he had that torn ACL in his second season. He's took a while coming back from it. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option. Should they trade him?
I'm going to – well, the Commanders shouldn't trade Chase Young. I'm going to sell that idea, all right, because I do think if they got a great offer or whatever, I would trade Chase Young. There's only so many people on your defensive line you can pay. And right now, he's kind of the unknown. We know Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen are awesome. And Montez Sweat, as we sit here right now, is clearly better than Chase Young as well. So that's where, the rubber meets the road, to where, again, I wouldn't say, oh, you definitely want to trade him, but they'd be crazy if they got some good offer not to at least listen or think about it a little bit for the purpose of team building. And you can't just have, a defensive line that's $100 million every year. So that's where I would say that.
I don't think anybody's going to offer anything significant until we see him back on the field playing up to something approaching the level we saw when he was the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And also, if the Commanders aren't contenders as we get close to the trade deadline, then that's an opportunity. And maybe by then, who knows, Josh Harris will be in charge of the team, and who knows how active he's going to be in decisions like this. But this is a fairly big decision. What do we do with Chase Young? He's having a good year. We're not. Do we take whatever someone's offering us now? Do we try to keep him around? Do we franchise tag him? What do we do? Those are decisions that I think don't become relevant until we know that he is
I think that's the right way to
or
say
something
it.
close to the guy that he used to be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed there.
So time will tell. For now, get yourself in shape, get out there, and try to wreak havoc like you did in 2020. And if it works out, good things will happen for Young, whether it's with the Commanders or someone else.
That's right.
Here's Ron Rivera, the Commanders head coach, on their quarterback competition. Remember, he's been saying all along, and he told us at the Super Bowl, Sam Howell is QB1. He later tried to apply a caveat to that he's got to earn the starting job. Here's Rivera on where things stand.
Do you still consider it a competition between Jacoby and Sam?
I do. I again, it's one of those things that, guys, it's just because I said he's going to start off as QB1 doesn't mean he's going to finish as QB1. I like to believe, though, that if he goes out and does things he's capable of, he's got a very, very good chance of doing that. I think Jacoby has shown us some things that have really gotten people's attention. We talk about Jacoby almost as much as we talk about Sam. So I just think as we go through this process and, until we play games, it'd be unfair to start making assessments. But, again, there is a lot of confidence.
We went through some of the quarterback competitions the other day, and we didn't include Sam Howell versus Jacoby Brissett because we just assume they mean what they say when they say Sam Howell's the guy. But if he doesn't do what they think he's capable of doing, this is not scholarship year for anyone with the Commanders. This is prove it or new owner is going to be more inclined to hire somebody else. So, yeah, they'd love for Sam Howell to be the next big thing and to come out and make everyone say, wow, they've got their quarterback for the next 10 years.
That's right.
Let's go ahead and keep the coach and GM and everybody else in place too.
Yep.
If they feel like it's not going to be him, then it's just let's win as many games as we can with the best option we have. We can't afford to have a 5-12 season where, hey, Sam Howell did some good things. Maybe he's the guy we build around. I don't think that's enough to save people, and it may not be enough to save Howell for 2024.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, they got to do what's right, but I mean, for the purpose of this, this is a tough one. Buy or sell. Is this a true QB competition? I'm gonna sell that it's not. It's close, but hear what I say a little bit. You just said it right. They want Sam Howell to be the guy. They think, there's some things about him that, make him a good starting quarterback. Plus there's some untapped potential that he can do that they're hoping they can untap. And then he can show us, hey, they're their guy for the next 10 years. Like you're saying, they know what Jacoby Brissett is, right? Jacoby Brissett. So what I'm saying is, I think it'll take something significant for Jacoby Brissett to be the starting quarterback. It'll be significant. And that to me does not, it's not conducive to a real quarterback competition. When I say significant, if Jacoby Brissett is going to look better than Sam Howell in a lot of practices, he's going to look better. He's a pro. He's been around. He's going to understand how to work practice better and do all that. Sam Howell's still young. He's not going to be the practice player he is. But if Jacoby Brissett's just a little bit better in practice every day, just a little bit, right? And even the games, maybe he's just a little bit better, or if it's very close, I think Sam Howell will still be the starter because they're going to go, wait, we think he's still growing and he can be something better here in another few weeks, right? Where, like, I only think Jacoby Brissett's a starter if Sam Howell really, like, whoa, he had a week where he threw 10 interceptions in training camp, and he looked like crap in preseason game 1 and 2. Like, it was a big difference between Howell and Jacoby Brissett. So that's why I don't think it's a real quarterback competition.
How do you sell to the locker room letting Howell be the guy if they believe Brissett is better?
Yeah, well, that's where again, it's got to be like a little bit of the fine line there. It can't be too much better, but I think he'll continue to say things like that right there, right? And they'll probably give Jacoby Brissett reps with the number ones to make it still look like it's a competition, and they're going to want to do that to keep him sharp and also, hot poker Sam Howell to continue to be better, and this is just not given to you there. But that's where, hey, the games are going to say a lot. And can Sam Howell be a gamer and do some things there that we think he can be and we saw in college and we saw a little in Week 18 last year that can maybe make up for the fact that he won't be as efficient as Jacoby Brissett is every day in practice and always, look like he got an A+ grade in that department. And I think, that's what they're going to have to hope for, that he shows his gamer ability once we get into the preseason.
4 years ago this month, the Rams, over my very loud objection, gave quarterback Jared Goff a market-level contract. 2 seasons later, he was hot potatoed out of town. They tucked a first-round pick into the Matthew Stafford trade package to unload his contract. Now, after 2 seasons with the Lions, there's a belief in Detroit he's better now than he was with the Rams. Let's hear what both Dan Campbell, the coach of the Lions, had to say yesterday to get this started, followed by Sean McVay trying to tiptoe through the minefield of not criticizing Goff, but also not admitting that maybe they should have given him a little more time to develop in L.A.
I mean, he's a better quarterback than he was there, in my opinion, because he can do more things. He's mentally on it. I mean, we've come light years ahead of where he was 2 years ago when we walked in and just start teaching him protections. I just feel like we ask him to, we put a lot of things on him where I'm not so sure that was ultimately what they were doing.
I think Jared's played at a really high level. I'll tell you what, though, when you watch what he did last year, he played great. And I think because he's so conscientious, repetition is the mother of learning. The more you play, the more you learn. You can really see, he's able to get through progressions quickly. They were asking a lot of him. He got a lot of different guys involved, took great care of the football. And so I think he's only gotten better. I was really happy to see how well he did. I think, that's probably a fair assessment because he's only getting better.
Okay, before we get to the substance there, remember when I showed the video a couple weeks ago of the bear that was raiding the trash can?
Yeah.
I think if you would put a Lions t-shirt on that bear, it would look like Dan Campbell. Good God, that guy's huge.
Oh, he's huge. I mean, he's out
My God!
He's the guy I joke. I mean, he's out of a cave. I mean, he's a Neanderthal. And I say that again with the greatest respect of, the brotherhood of Neanderthals. Meathead,
Neanderthal,
right. Damn.
Psycho.
You know what that means?
Respectful.
That means good football player. That's what that means. And I respect a good football player, and that's what he is. But yeah, he's a giant human being, as we saw in person at the Combine this year.
He could pick up that trash can and throw it around the same way the bear did. Okay, so.
Yeah, let's unpack this.
I believe that the Lions assumed the Jared Goff contract to get the extra first-round pick, and they were just going to tread water for a couple of years while they figured out who their quarterback was going to be. On the way to doing that, the guy has developed. The guy has blossomed. He's played better. Now, how do you reconcile this if you're Sean McVay? Because if you praise him too much, why'd you get rid of the guy that you'd given all the money to? And he's still only 28, and maybe he's your foundational piece, and maybe you'll wish you had him once Matthew Stafford's done. Here's the difference. It's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of what constitutes success. For the Lions, they'd love to be perennial playoff team, even if they lose short of the Super Bowl. I think the Rams decided there's a ceiling on Jared Goff.
Right.
He's never going to win us a Super Bowl. If we want to win a Super Bowl, we need somebody else. The Lions will worry about that when they are on the fringes of being a Super Bowl contender.
Right.
And maybe at that point, they move on from Jared Goff. But for now, he's a guy that helps build the program toward the point where they say, this guy's taking us as far as he can.
That's right. And listen, I think they're already putting that question out there by drafting Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round, too. We're going, we're not sure. We like where we're going, but we're not sure. It's a good topic here. The first thing is what I would say. I agree with what Dan Campbell said. I do agree with it. But they were forced into that corner, though. They had no choice, right? The Rams were good enough to go, oh, wait, Jared Goff can't throw the out route very good? All right, well, we're good enough. We'll find out another way to throw a screen to Gurley, throw something to Robert Woods. I'll come up with, fake the run, fake the speed sweep, play action pass, screen to this guy. So they were always kind of covering Jared Goff there, and they were good enough to do it. So they didn't have to push him to go, no. You need to hit this throw. You need to hit this throw. Detroit, on the other hand, was not good enough to do that. They were not. And they got to the point where they were like, hey, buddy, you got to sit in the pocket and make this throw. This is all we got. Todd Gurley isn't here to run around the corner for 90 yards. We got no Cooper Kupp that's going to run the greatest route ever and run up the middle for 75 yards and a touchdown, right? And that's where I think the rubber met the road. And, yeah, it pushed Goff, and it pushed the Lions to push Goff because they were stuck in a situation where they were like, we're stuck with them there. But so that would be the reason I would say he's better now than then. But, to your point, Mike, he could not have done what Matthew Stafford did. There's no way he was bringing the Rams to the Super Bowl. There's no way he was going to do what Stafford did with one of the great second-half performances in the history of the Super Bowl with no talent around him and injuries everywhere and beat the Bengals. There's no way. And I think that's your point of why they made that move there. And, the jury's still out in that department on Goff, in my opinion.
I remember when I was a kid, there was an insult that went along the lines of, you're so ugly, they have to put a pork chop around your neck to get the dog to play with you. I mean, basically, they had to put a pork chop around Jared Goff's neck to get the Lions to take him. And Goff is smart enough to know that the Rams were done with him and that they threw him out the door and that they basically had to put a pork chop around his neck to get Dan Campbell to take him, which may literally have been the way to get Dan Campbell to do it. But he knows that. And how do you not use that as a way to motivate yourself to be the absolute best version of yourself that you can be, to find a level of achievement you've never had before? That should be, think about how Tom Brady would react to something like that. Think about how every great quarterback would deal with it. That's a slap in your face. It's an affront to who you are, and you're going to become even more focused, do everything necessary to be the best quarterback you can be, to stick it to the team that gave up on you. And that's where Goff is now. I think he's trying to stick it to everybody who ever doubted him, and anybody who ever doubted him had those doubts validated by what the Rams had to do to get him off the roster.
Well, yeah, that and I know we're all prisoners of the moment and all that, but we were at a point last year where I don't know what point of the year was it where we were like, Jared Goff has only won 2 games of the history of the starter without Sean McVay, right? I mean, it was some stat like that. I know I'm probably blundering it a little bit, and then they got on a hot streak and that kind of went away. But that was what we were talking about last year. Jared Goff can't win a game without Sean McVay, and then they started to win some games. Now, he played really good, and like I talked about in my quarterback rankings, he's tough. He's got a stronger arm than people realize, and he's got more confidence in his ability to throw the ball into a tight window on aggressive throws than he certainly did with the Rams. But we'll see where it goes. Like I said, there's still questions about, hey, their defense was horrible. Their offense was super talented in all areas. And that led it to a freewheeling, hey, we're behind, so we got to push the envelope. And, hey, you got to push the envelope. And a mistake happens and all that, so what? But we have no choice. You got to go. It's going to be different this year, and that's where I'm interested to see the reaction of the Lions team and Goff, because there is going to be a little more of a bullseye on them.
And as we said recently, some of these things that are coming out of Lions camp, whether it's from offensive coordinator Ben Johnson or head coach Dan Campbell, leaving meat on the bone last year, expecting more from the offense, it goes to the guy
that's
who's
what they're
running
saying.
The offense and making the decisions about where to throw the football. It's more pressure on him. More pressure on the team equals more pressure on him. It's one thing to be motivated by being disrespected in the past. Now he's got to be motivated by this assumption the Lions are going to be good, and they're going to be the darlings of primetime this year, unexpectedly. So we'll see how Goff responds in that moment. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.